Maggots, larvicide. Cyromazine active, very versatile really in how you can apply it. Different ideas on how you apply it for different sort of scenarios. Into pigs, it can go on as a granule. Again, you need to try and make sure that it's evenly spread. You can make it into a stock solution, put it in through a pressure washer, and then make your solution, know how many meters you've got to cover, know how many litres is coming out the end of your pressure washer. You can get a pretty accurate level of accuracy of application. I don't necessarily like granules going on to very dry muck. If you have got a very dry crust on the top, they can take a little while to dissolve. Then it's definitely better to put it on liquid. If you're trying to gain control of a fly infestation, then I would definitely put it on as a liquid. I think it just soaks into that muck a little bit further, obviously, than the granule. Gets the control element starting, the larvae working into the muck, actually get the product onto them quicker, start ingesting it. In poultry, again, you can do it with granules. Doesn't want to be too dry. I'll go back down a liquid route then. If you're going to try and apply it with a watering can, be careful with your watering cans. If you've got a 10-litre watering can and tip it up, when the water's flowing through that rose on the end, you get quite a wide spray effectively at the end of it, coverage. As the liquid gets less, the head pressure drops and your width drops. So if you're not careful, you don't get a very accurate application over the area because of it's coming out at, I don't know how many litres a minute when it's starting off, but as it gets less, it drops off. So just watch the accuracy on that. You might not gain quite as good a control. If you're trying to put it through a pressure washer, again, try and make the stock solution up. Going back to the watering can, the same. Don't mix it in the watering can. Mix up your solution, put in your 10, 20 kilos, whatever you need, in however many litres of water, 300, 400, 500 litres of water. Try and mix that up, get it dissolved, and then take it out of that, decant it out of your tank into your watering can and go and apply it. I see it too often where people have tried to put it through a watering can and put 50 grams in a watering can and then get to the end and realise that all the prills are still in the rows in the end of it, and obviously accuracy's gone out the window. That would be key. I do like the idea of making it into a complete liquid most of the time, if I'm honest. There is applications where you can, if the fly infestation isn't great and you can get it on accurately, yeah, put it on prills. But I think if you've got a fly infestation in any setting, I would probably try and put it on liquid. I think your accuracy is quite a lot better making it into a liquid. I also think that you have a problem. Yes, you can put it on in if you warm the water and mix it and stir it and God knows what, you can actually get it into quite a small amount of water. That only works if you can apply it direct to the muck. If you're applying that to a slat and then trying to get it to the muck, obviously a lot of that liquid is staying on the slat and not getting on the muck. I don't think that's a good idea. I think you have a bit of a problem when allowing the livestock back over that area again. There's quite a lot left onto the slat where they're walking around on. I think if you up the water content, you decrease the amount that can stay on the slat. The slat can hold an amount of water before it drips. And if you put it on with a knapsack spray at a very low volume, that sits on the slat. And so all your product is effectively sat on the slat, not in the muck where it needs to be. If you put it on with a greater water content, it does get it down onto the muck and just gives it that bit of soaking into the top. Cyromazine active, I do think it's a very good active. It's proven itself. It only really fails down to an application problem. It doesn't fail itself. The active is safe as houses. The problem comes down to an application. The amount of sites I have to go out to, I have been out to, and it always boils down to an application problem. They either haven't used enough, miscalculated the area, a water problem, they've tried to put it on granular and not got the application right, or very low water and it's sitting on the slats, or there's been a problem. It's been down to an application problem. The secret to applying Maggots Cyromazine is getting your timings right. So monitoring of your fly problem is key. So to get your first treatment on, you need to be monitoring what numbers of flies you've got, then get your treatment on, then assessing when you're going to put your next treatment on. So that could be down to muck fall, so roughly 3-4 inches of muck fall. You can do that with sort of, just get a tape measure, certain points measure between the slat and the top of the muck, and obviously if that's decreasing, if that's 27 inches today and in 4 weeks time it's 24 inches, you know you've had 3 inches of muck fall. It doesn't have to be any more scientific than that really, just giving you a guide. I like to try and get the early treatments on. I think it does pay dividend. Waiting for an infestation to be a good infestation and a big numbers means you have to put 2 treatments on relatively close together. One is your control, the second is your residual. If you try and get that timed right, you get your first treatment on, and 8 weeks later roughly you're putting your second treatment on. Or if you've got a problem, you can put 1 treatment on and sort of 14-18 days later you're having to put a second treatment on. It's a bit of a waste of money. So if you can try and get your monitoring right, it also helps for environmental health officers. If you do get a visit from environmental health, you are better off admitting via paperwork to say, yeah, I identified a problem, I knew I had a problem, I've treated the problem, here's my paperwork to back me up. And if you're monitoring, that is key. If you say I don't know anything, they don't take that as an answer anymore. You need to have done something, and having that paper trail of I've monitored this, I've checked that, I've got to this point, I'm here now, this is what I've done about it, because you actually take an action to do something about it. So when we're applying and mixing maggots, there is 2 or 3 ways of putting this on. You can apply it granular to a muck area if it's got enough moisture in that muck to dissolve the prills. You can then apply it directly through the slats at a higher water rate, so 15 litres in to cover 20 square metres, or if you have an ability to spray it directly to the muck, you can reduce the water rate down to 5 litres to cover your 20 square metres. The mixing is still 500 grams per 20 square metres, but your water usage is dropped. So we're going to do the mixing of maggots larvicide into a sprayer. We can mix it into a knapsack sprayer or a bigger pumping vessel to get the liquid onto the muck. So we're going to be mixing this into there, 15 litres of water with our product, and that will be 500 grams into this 15 litres. That 15 litres will cover 20 square metres. So we'll roughly get a measured on here, roughly where it should be. We pour that into there. This will want a good mix. Get your lid on. My advice is then to put it onto your back or like this and give it a shake for 20-30 seconds to make sure all these prills have dissolved into this liquid to make just a pure liquid. Then go and apply that over your 20 square metres. What you don't want is a very concentrated solution will stay on the slat. That concentration will hold on the slat and not be on the muck where it needs to be. So if you increase the water content, the solution is effectively more dilute, but you're still putting the 500 grams 20 square metres onto the muck area just with more water. So the slat will then drip and drop down, so you'll get a better rate. So spraying that dwarf wall for flies, those flies will hatch out of the muck and then try and climb a vertical surface to dry their wings. For the first few hours of life, really, before they go off and breed, they'll sort of dry their wings. So if you can get a spray onto a wall, vertical surface wall there, it's quite residual, it can't get much muck on it or anything. They'll crawl up there and die quite quickly before they breed. That's the aim of the game. Very ineffective, really, spraying onto the muck. there's no real residual at all. You'll kill obviously what's there, what's crawling around, but you won't have any residual effect at all.